Hello, 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 and welcome back. Sorry about that. My mic went off. Just was on, but it slightly unplugged itself, so it's a bit dumb. But welcome back to FRLT 4s in season number 4. We return this week for round number 8 of the season as we head to the Netherlands. As you can see, it is 4.259 kilometers, 2.646 miles, 14 turns, 2 zones down the pit straight and down the back straight. Quite a bit of evolution and quite a bit of changes throughout the track. Elevation changes, I should actually say, as it goes up towards the end of Sector 1 and into Sector 2. Hello, Ryan. Welcome to the stream. Let's have a quick look at the lovely calendar. As you can see, we've now gone through Imola, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Great Britain, Austria, Kota, China. And this week, we go to the penultimate race of the Netherlands, where then next week we'll be going to the finale in Bahrain. Now, another talking point is the standings. XR8 had a good race last time, pulled themselves further ahead of AB in the Constructors' Championship, pulling themselves up to a whopping 32 points ahead of ABE. UFRT had a good enough race to bring themselves to just over 100 points. They become the third team this season. SKG had an incredible race, back-to-back victories and a double podium, meant that they went up. Now, sorry, as I was going to say, they actually went up ahead, up to 4th in the Constructors, ahead of XPG. And, and XPG, a podium, a nice podium, but it wasn't enough to keep themselves safe. They're down to 5th in the Constructors now. But what's interesting when you actually look at the standings, if you notice, there's only 2 teams have won 2 races each, and that is XR8 and SKG, who have both won a combined of 4, and 3 teams... Yes, 3 teams have won 1, and that is ABE. That was ABE, XPG, and TTRE. UFRC are 3rd in the Constructors, yet they haven't won a single race. Definitely do think that's a pretty crazy one to actually look at stats-wise. But we're getting into qualifying now. It's going to be an interesting one here tonight. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday evening. You might be wondering, why is the race not at 8? Why is it 7 this week? Why is it earlier? That is because of the real-life Grand Prix, the Miami Grand Prix, happening at 9 p.m. tonight. UK time, by the way. That is UK time. The only reason why we're doing it early is because of that. Because if we did the race at 8, we'd finish at about 9:30. So everybody wants to watch the Grand Prix and not be racing, so that's why we're coming to, we're doing this at 7 instead. Now, 13 drivers, I know 13 drivers, which is strange, which I did not expect to see. I thought we would have more, which I find is quite strange. We're still missing 1 driver out of all of them. So I think we're going to be going up to 14. We should have 16 tonight. We should be having 16, but we've got 13. So we're 3 short. I know there is an ABE driver joining and somebody else, which means... I know we've got an ABE driver and that's the 14th driver that's just joined now. I'm not sure who that was that's just joined. I don't know who, but the first car out on track is Josh Rose, who's made his way out. As he now makes his way round the track. XR8 want to wrap up the title. They could tonight. They have to extend their Constructors' Championship lead to 59 points, which means they need to score 28 points more than they need to get it to 60, before next race. Otherwise, AB will still have a chance, but they need to get up to 60, so they can then take the Constructors' Championship out of round 9. And XR8 claim their first trophy ever in FRLT and become the 3rd different Force champion in 3 seasons. But it is Josh Rose who's starting his lap. Let's see how he's going to do on his lap as he crosses the line. Start off, we're going to see into turn 1. Already slightly banked as you head in. It's a bit easier to do it because of that. To get around the corner, and that's pretty good so far. Now up towards turn 2, got to throw the car in before very hard braking for turn 3. The huge bank corner. So then he makes his way around a little bit deep there. Maybe not getting the best of exits, but so far not too bad. Now heading through and up towards the hill. He finishes off sector 1, not too bad, 24.301. Now through the long right-hander, flat out on this year's game. Much easier than it used to be. Through the right-hander again. He's then going to hit the second part of the double right-hander. Bit tighter and a lot slower, but so far looking pretty good from Josh Rose. Now into the long left. You could spin it quite easily off the exit, but he does it perfectly now, opening the rear wing for that DRS down the short straight. Doesn't do a lot, but does help the lap time just very slightly. Through the right, into the left, the slowest section of the track. Using a little bit of outside curb. Didn't really have to, but he did in the end. And through the final proper corner before we get to the long banked corner as the final turn here in Zandvoort, as he's now coming up to the line. What is Josh Rose going to do for his first lap? It's a 1:09.034, and that is a pretty solid lap time. That is TYTY in the wall there. Not good at all for XR8 on one side of the garage. Not looking like the best. Jatu just went very, very close, but that's immediately been beaten by Raphael, who's gone to a 1:08.892. SKG pushing XR8. Can they make it? Can they become the leaders for wins in Fords this season? Can they make it a 3rd win and a hat-trick of wins this season? Can they claim 3rd in the Constructors, then into the final race, possibly even claim 2nd or 1st? Who knows? At the moment, it is mathematically impossible, I believe, for them to actually claim. It is, at the moment, I believe, mathematically impossible for them to claim 1st in the Constructors. They can't win, but they can get 2nd. Fireblaze just went 2nd, just ahead of Josh Rose. Ridley, quite a bit further off. Tartar Sauce goes P5. He's a few tenths behind. Shadow had a spin on his lap. That's why he's going slowly. So a couple of bad moments for XR8. Not a perfect few runs or two. We got Pishi next. Pishi's shown his speed in Tier 1 and in 4s. UFRT want to get that 3rd in the Constructors. They want to confirm that 3rd in the Constructors. And it is Pishi who goes fastest of all to a 1:08.818. Going to a low 8 now. People getting quite a bit quicker. Low 0.8. That's where you really want to be. Pishi's getting quite a bit faster, and that is sort of what you'd like to see. Then we've got Remote coming up to the line next. SKG pushing with everything they've got. As now Remote goes fastest of all to a 1:08.588. Stunning the crowd and stunning all of you. Stunning myself with that incredible lap. Oof, that is a big, big statement here tonight from SKG. It's clear they want to take it 2nd in the Constructors. They want to try and get ahead of ABE. ABE, of course, currently only have 1 driver in. They're meant to be having another joining very soon, but it's looking interesting. Let's see how is, I think SKG have come in here and they just want to win the final 4 races. There's a lot of conversation. Can they beat XR8? In Tier 1, it's been very clear who's better than the other team. Who's better in that case. In Tier 1, we've seen XR8, I think, have 79 points or something, or 80 odd points, and SKG, of course, have, 100, I think 31 or 32, pushing for that championship lead in the Constructors. They're pushing for that Constructors championship lead. And I think it's quite clear in all honesty, I think it's been very clear this season with who's sort of where realistically, not only in Tier 1 but especially here in 4s, But I think in fours it's been closer than ever because there's no team that I'd say really this season has dominated. I think, XR8 got back-to-back wins. SKG now have back-to-back wins. But I think if SKG were to pull off 4 wins in a row, I think it'd be very clear who is the dominant team in all of it. Who realistically would have, if they had started the season or joined earlier, they could have won the They would have won the constructors quite easily. XR8 though, not having a great evening so far. P5, P6, P9 and P13, not where they want to be. That's 17 points for P5 and P6. Only 19 points coming from tonight. That would be their worst race, by the way, or one of their worst races of the season. So it's really going to be down there at the moment if they stay in those positions. But Russell Bolt up to the line. He's getting a little bit of slipstream, but he only goes P11 in the end for UFRT. Josh Rose up by a 10th in the first sector. He's finding that little bit of time. That's going to put him only up to P5, so only ahead of his teammate for the moment. As TYTY goes P3 into a 1 minute 8.8. Still far off of remote. Still almost 3/10 off of remote at the moment. So still a very big gap. For XR8 though tonight, if they outperform purely they outperform ABE, which I think is probably going to happen here tonight. They know that they've pretty much wrapped up the constructors, and that is Josh Rose to a 1 minute 8.645. Ooh, still a bit off, but pretty close. In all fairness, I think with XR8 in this case, they're a good team. They've been a strong team this season, and clearly in the second half of the season, they've proven, for sort of 3-4 races, they were the best team. But I do feel bad for instance, ABE in this case, because they haven't always had the best of luck, and I think they've had quite a bit of bad luck this season that has hit them. Of course, not racing in Tier 1 for the first time in FRLT history, but racing in fours, they're still going to be taking another trophy home. They're still going to be taking, in all fairness, they're still going to be taking their third or fourth trophy or something home, as Ridley goes P12. Pretty solid lap there from himself. But that's kind of what I mean, is I think it's very close at the moment between everybody. I think everybody's on such a sort of close terms and such close sort of pace in fours that it is going to be difficult. I think at the moment SKG are favourites to sort of get third in the constructors, and I think they're probably favourites going into this race to win and to make it a third race win this season and to lead all teams in wins. Longest win streak. I'm not sure. I believe if I remember correctly, the longest win streak in fours was 4 races. That was the longest, I believe, and that was TTRE in Season 3. They won all of the first 4 races. So SKG can at least draw, get a draw with that on 4 wins. But, I mean, if they win the opening 4th race of next season, we can count that as a 5th win in a row. So I would be counting that as a 5th win in the season in a row, as Raphael goes to P3. Solid lap, just missing out on P2, but still P3 at the end of his lap. Who's next? Trying to look for a driver. Jashu, he's next, up by almost 0.2 of a second. That's going to send, whoa, and a big slide. That could drop him down, but that could send him up to P6 in the end. Edward now joins, that's our 15th driver. But anyway, Jashu comes in the end. Anyway, so he did not feel happy with that lap. So does Deck. I think we've got quite a lot of drivers coming in now. Who is coming up the line? I think that's Fireblaze who's coming up the line. Yes, that's here. Coming up to the line. We've got Tartar Sauce coming around. Tartar Sauce is going slow, so he's going to pull into the pits as well. Not a lot of drivers getting a lot of luck at the moment. Rusted Bolt also on his way in. Here tonight. Not looking too great for himself. P-Sheet improves by just over a 10th. He goes into P4. Remote goes even faster to a 1 minute 8.319. Over 0.3 clear of the rest of the pack. He's making this look very, very easy. We've got to look to Fireblaze, though. He's up by over a tenth at the moment. That's going to send him to about P6, so up 2 places. Yeah, I do believe at the moment that XR8 have probably wrapped up the championship. I think, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of talk in comments and like in the Discord server as well about, AMS have wrapped up their 3rd championship, the quadruple, the triple crown in tier 1. But in fours, nobody's really been able to dominate that crown. In the 2 previous seasons we've had of fours, it's been, the first season it was AERO. I believe it was. Yeah, it was AERO who won the first title. I'll double check that actually just now. Who won? Yes, it was AERO who won the first title. I don't know why I can't remember. It wasn't so long ago. It feels like it was, but it wasn't. But yeah, so they were the first to win the championship, actually, in all fairness. They were the first to win the to win the Fours Constructors Championship. They took that. Last season, of course, we had SET, who on the last race beat TTRE, a dominant TTRE as well, to win the championship, which was amazing to watch. Absolutely incredible. And we've seen in season 4 here that for a 3rd sort of season, we've seen a pretty close battle over the championship. Nobody's been particularly more dominant over the other. It's literally, XR8 compared to ABE, 1 win difference. What if they didn't have that extra win? They might have 18 points less, in their season. So realistically, there's not a huge difference. 32 points in sort of 8, in 7 races is not huge, especially when there's 59 points up for grabs. In fours, 14 points more up for grabs than in tier 1. But Josh Rose is down by 53 thousandths in his middle sector. He's not doing too great on this lap. I think he knows pole is out of the question. He's got to find over 0.3 of a second to get pole, and at the moment he's not even improving. Yeah, I think it's a very tough thing to sort of say about, like, sort of to give my sort of idea on where I think everybody is. But in all honesty, I do think at this rate SKG are going to take 4 wins. I think we know that the hat trick is coming this race, which means they would be the I think the 2nd team to get, or 3rd team. I think they'll be the 3rd team to get a hat trick in a season, if I remember correctly. They'll become the 3rd team to achieve a hat trick. 3 teams in 3 seasons. I think it's only been AERO. I think got 3 in a row, and I think TTRE last season, of course, now SKG could do that. It's either been 2 or 3 teams. I can't remember exactly. I don't have a massive book on this. It's not like I know every single stat. I watch too many races, if I'm being honest, But Shadow struggling a little bit in that Williams for XR8. He's really struggling quite a bit. Improves by just over a 10th, but stays in P11. Real struggle coming from sort of one side of XR8 at the moment, unable to get laps. Remote now retires. Doesn't think he needs to do another lap, which don't disagree with him. Shadow also retires. Across the line, Russell Bolt goes slower. He might be going on another lap, or is he done? No, he is going on another lap. Yeah, we know shorts, we know. We know whenever you race, we know that opening race to tier 1 that you won. That you didn't actually win, but just because of penalties. But Jachu goes up to P7 to 1 minute 8. That's another drive. That's now 9 drivers into the 1 minute 8s. Incredible so far. Who's gonna be on a lap next? That's Pishi, who's on a lap. It's important for UFRT going into this race. They really do pick up points, because SKG are breathing down their neck at the moment. 4 points. But Pishi's already going slow. Is he waiting to do another run? I think so. But Josh Rose is following behind anyway quite closely. I know we've watched a lot of Josh Rose in this qualifying, which I'm surprised by. I didn't think I'd be watching this much of Josh Rose. But Josh Rose up by 19 thousandths in the first sector, where you sort of want to be. Into this middle sector now. Let's see how Josh Rose can do, because he's up by 19 thousandths. Not going to improve his position, but the main thing is getting ahead of SKG, Raphael, Pishi, and Pishi, sorry. I was about to say and his teammate Fireblaze, but his teammate's a bit further back. But you know, it's getting in front. Exact same lap time, by the way, from Raphael and Pishi of 1 minute 8.663. I didn't notice that at first, but yeah, they're both on the exact same lap time. So these final runs are really going to be important. But you can see here comes Josh Rose. He's picking up some slipstream from his teammate, which isn't particularly allowed, but he does improve by half a tenth, but that's all he's going to be able to improve by. I think we have Pishi who's the next one on a run. It is Pishi. I don't know why it's gone to that camera. I didn't click on that camera. Dumb game. But we've got Russell Bolt, who's improving by almost 0.2 of a second. That's still not enough to actually gain a position. Whoa! UFRT really being a one-sided team. That Red Bull side of the team has barely scored any points all season long, and Russell Bolt feels like that's it. Edwards also in the pits. It's not Raphael, it's Liam Mag for SKG, and up to the line. Where does he go? He goes P2. He jumps Josh Rose in the end, and that's a very strong lap from himself. Fireblaze did improve slightly, I believe, but that's still a decent enough lap. Deck goes P2. Who's next? Raphael is not going to be improving in this session. We've got Ridley coming up to the line next. Where is he going to go? It's Payshe. I know. Jesus Christ. It's Payshe. Payshe. There we go. I'm sorry. I'm stupid. I just say names when I see them. Pesci. Here he comes. Pesci. Done. I'm just going to say Pesci. I don't even know anymore. I give up. I give up with names. Leave me alone. But Remote is on pole, followed by Pesci. I've got it. Deck. Liam Mag, Josh Rose, Raphael, Fireblaze, TYTY, Jashu, Tartar Sauce, Shadow, Russell Bolt, Ridley, Poem, and Edward in 15th and last. I got it in the end, Pesci. I do apologise. I don't mean to not say his name correctly. I'm just a bit stupid, to be honest. I don't even know anymore. Bro, I'm so tired. Yeah. Pesci. Yeah, I know, Brian. I don't mean to get names wrong. I don't mean to. But when I look at Pesci, when I look at the name Pesci, all I see is Pishi. Like, that's all I see in the name. And I do apologize to Pesci himself. I don't mean to. I just find it easier to say. I don't know why, but I don't know. I just go to my normal settings and just be like, that's Pishi. But yeah, it's waning. Oh no, it's raining for the race. This is going to be interesting. It doesn't look heavy, so it looks like it's going to be intermediate tires. Definitely going to change some things. It's going to change a lot of things, actually, if we're being honest. I hope you guys are enjoying this great stream. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like. Also, click on the notification bell to know about all of the content we're going to be doing. Yeah. From videos, shorts, and streams. I'm excited for this race, though, to be honest. I'm sorry if I seem like I'm a little bit, like, unenergetic. I am just a bit tired. That is all. I am just a bit tired. I've had a long day. So, long Sunday. For this race, in all honesty, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I've got to give it to UFRT. P2 and P3, it's exactly what they needed. XR8 did not get away from this qualifying well. It did not go well for XR8. I don't think it went the way they wanted. I mean, AB don't look like they're in the fight for points. I think it's very clear that they're not in the fight for points. We do see that others are, but I think, yes, we are getting going now. I can hear it. A little beeping in the background. Here we are. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in the Netherlands for round number 8 of FRLT 4s in Season 4. And it is a great getaway from Remote into Turn 1. It is raining down heavily. Look at that. That is the Sauber of Raphael who's gone into the side of, I believe that was Deck further back. As SKG tries to push their way up the order. You can see a bit of battling further back. You can see now Josh Rose is trying to make his way past one of the SKG drivers while he's battling with the other. And it is all going quite crazy. It's been a bit of a slow start from a few. It looks like it's been a bit of a slow start from Shadow, who's already outside of the top 10 now. And down to P12. Josh Rose trying to push his way up through the order. He's only P5. And that's not where he wants to be. And it looks like it's not looking like the best of days for XR8 here tonight. And does still leave, possibly. It does still leave as it stands. ABE in for a chance at the championship into the final race of the season. So we can see, though, it is two championship rivals at the moment, both going at each other. SKG versus UFRT. And UFRT at the moment have the bit of an advantage. They've got 2 drivers in the top 3. But in all fairness, SKG have 3 drivers in the top 6. So it is looking like it might get a little bit one-sided at one point. But Remote has fully pulled away and into the lead. He's almost already a second in front after the first lap. But his incredible pace in qualifying, I mean, it's not surprising that he is and has been pulling away so quickly, as now there's a swap at UFRT as Deck now pulls into P2 ahead of his teammate Pesci, who is struggling a little bit more. Let's see how that goes for the UFRT duo. I have to say, though, this was the race that UFRT had to respond in and had to perform in. And in all fairness, they are doing it right. Getting a double podium will at least hinder SKG's chances of taking that third in the constructors. We'll be seeing, I think, ABE will be, I believe, getting their first trophy they've ever gotten in 4s. And I think that's pretty much confirmed. And I think, we know that UFRT and SKG are aiming for their first trophy in their history in FRLT. And, of course, we got XR8 claiming first in the constructors. That's what they want to do out of this race, and they want to take that first, and they want to win the constructors championship, and they want to take their first ever number 1 position. But Remote has pulled out that lead now, 1.3 seconds. But this was a stage that I think very much Remote needed to get away. He sets another fastest lap of the race. This was very much what he needed and what SKG wanted. I think we very much saw it in qualifying as well, but a bit of foreshadowing to how the race was going to go in qualifying. But I have to say, Remote is putting on so far an absolute spectacle of a race, pulling away dominance. Very much 2023 Max Verstappen sort of style, pulling away from the grid, as he's kind of already finding himself on his own, focusing on his own race already. Incredible driving. I've got to give it to Remote, though. It is incredible driving that we're seeing from him. He is absolutely putting on an incredible day at the moment. But still very close further behind. Look at this. Josh Rose, he's trying to get one of the SKG drivers. Remember, every point for XR8 is incredibly important at the moment. AB are not scoring any points. So from a 32-point gap, that's going up to 42. Then with 5 points for 7th, that's 47. And another 3 points to 51. Sorry, 50. So they need another 10 points on top of that. That is what XR8 need. They need another 10 points. Now, Josh Rose, even if he can get up to second, that's still only an extra 5 points at the moment. So, but that's half the distance. He really needs his teammate TY to get past Raphael very soon to at least go from 5 points up to 7. And there's been a bit of a bump. You can see Liam Maggs bumped the back of Pesci, but he's allowed the Mercedes to stay in front, noticing his mistake. And that's quite nice to see, that just making sure that he doesn't make an overtake that would be unfair. Quite nice to see from some drivers. You don't often see that from many. But yeah, so they need XR8 need another 10 points to claim the championship here tonight. They didn't get pole, so that means that's 1 point already gone. Ah, okay. Tyler. Alright. I did not know what TY was. It could be anything. But, well, 1 point is already looking like it's heading the way of XR8. So now they only need 9 more, because Shallows made his way up to P10. If he can get P9 as well, that would mean only 8 points. And that would take a bit of strain off of others. And that's sort of exactly what kind of he needs to do here. Get up to P9 and claim an extra 2 points. And at least bring XR8 into this, very much, into this chance of winning the Constructors. Because at the moment, it's looking a little bit difficult unless they gain positions. But looks like Shadow's looking he's looking a lot faster than Tartar Sauce, by the way. He's looking a lot faster. So I think possibly a P9. Looks like it might be a bit easy. But look at this. Edwards making his way down the inside of Jachu for P11. And that is up a position from Edward, who started last, by the way. His connection's a little bit all over the place. But, yeah, so Tyler does really need to make this move for P6, by the way. He really needs to get past Raphael, because at the moment he's not. And he's going from, he's losing XRA are losing 2 points because of that. They don't have the fastest lap either. So they're also dropping a point because of that. But they need Shadow to get fastest lap and stay in the top 10. And maybe they can claim that extra point. But it is really an important phase of the race. Let's be honest. This is where XR8 have a championship on the line. Hello, Florist. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a great day. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like. But yeah, I think it's interesting to see, though, because now we can see Remote isn't pulling away as much as he was in the last sort of 2-3 laps. Deck has kept up with him a little bit more in P2, but Deck has pulled away from his teammate almost the same gap, 1.8 seconds, splitting second and third. But here comes Liam Mag now down the inside. He's trying to get the UFRT driver as he does send it down the inside. A little bit of contact, but it is good enough, not enough contact to really be arguing that he pushed him out the way. But that is a nice move, as we also saw a move for P9 further back. Shadow made his way up to P9 ahead of Tartar Sauce. I think, to be honest, we all saw it coming. Tartar Sauce is really struggling with his car at the moment. But that is up to P9 and up another point for XR8. That brings them into contention a bit more. 52 points now ahead in the Constructors as it would stand. As Edward now goes down, that's a bit of relief. As now, look at this. Oh, somebody's gone off. It's Pesci. Pesci's gone off. Pesci's gone way off. I don't know, where is Pesci? Where is Pesci? There's Pesci. Holy. Pesci is outside of the top 10, and that is that's completely what they didn't need here tonight. At least Deck is still P2, but it's the complete opposite. But now, in all of that, it's as it stands, by the way, it is crowned Season 4's champions, XR8 for now, because they're getting not only 21 points, bringing themselves to 53 points, they're also getting 7, which is 60, and another 5, so 65. So as it stands, if it stays exactly like this, XR8 will be your Season 4's champions. If it stays like this after Stewards, it's going to be very interesting to watch here. I think we saw, so Raphael, I think, was caught in a bit of an instance. He's got some wing damage as well. That end plate completely off of his car. really hurting SKG as well here tonight. Their big points scoring opportunities are kind of disappearing. 3 points at the moment will be scored between two of their drivers. 18 for their first drivers, 21 points at the moment, 21 points. And then with an extra 15, so 36 points here tonight, will bring themselves up to over 100 points, become the 4th team this season to do it. But they'll still be behind UFRT, and so their best will be, I believe their best will be 4th, but at the moment AB scoring nothing, so they could even get 2nd still. Could still be on the cards in the end. But who knows? Remote's just set another fast lap. Whoa, that's Shadow! Oh my god! It's Shadow off! Oh my god. Oh, they're right on the threshold now. P4, P5 and P6. 21 points. 28 points. Oh my god, they're right on the threshold. 60 points. If I'm correct, it's 60 points the gap is at. Right this second. That's our first retirement of the evening. Shadow is out, but XR8 are now hanging on by a thread. 60 points as it stands. They would lead the Constructors' Championship by, which would just be enough. But if they drop one singular point, they will have to go into the next race, still battling for the championship, still with a chance for maybe to win the Constructors. This race is giving us everything. This race is really giving us everything here tonight. And that's really, the security that XR8 had a minute ago has completely disappeared. As Josh Rose is trying to line up Liam Mag for a move into P3 and to at least help his championship chances a bit more by increasing that chance by 2 more points, 62 points. But this is the whole championship battle here. This is championship now for XR8. I will hopefully be getting an interview from the owner of XR8, Ryan Benink. Hopefully, I'll be getting an interview. Maybe even from Josh Rose or somebody else, but maybe from, hopefully from Ryan Benink on how he feels with the first with that championship. But we'll have to see as the race goes on, because remember, we're only 9 laps in of the 36-lap race, and we're in wet conditions, so they're only going by slowly, quite a bit slower than usual. But the rain is disappearing, by the way. The rain on my screen has stopped. So, maybe this now means the championship is up for grabs, and it is now going to be changing very soon. Who is going to be faster in the dry conditions? We know Josh Rose was looking pretty pacey in the dry conditions. That's Ridley, who's going slowly in the middle sector. Not too great for himself, but it's looking interesting. Remote has just set another fastest lap of the race as it's getting dry, about another 10th faster. So dry conditions now. What's going to happen? When is DRS going to come on? When is the battling going to really heat up here in the Netherlands? Lap 10 onto double digits now. 4 laps. We've still got another 26 laps of this race to go. Yes, another 26. But it's going to be going a little bit. It's going to be going by a little bit faster now because we are in dry conditions and the lap times have sped up a lot. And I mean, the lap times have sped up a huge amount more. But what's crazy is actually the gap at the moment. Remote leads by 2.5 seconds back to Deck, and then Deck is another 4.5 seconds. So we're looking at about 7 seconds at the moment, splitting first to third, which is a huge gap in this race. 7 seconds. I think this is how dominant Remote has really been. He's setting fastest laps while some others are setting either personal bests or not even setting personal bests. So Remote, you have got to give it to him so far this race. It has been dominance from start to finish. He might become the first driver to enforce to ever do a complete 100% race of dominance. No driver, by the way, in Force has ever had a Grand Slam. Fastest lap, pole, led every lap. We've never seen that with any driver before. But Remote, at the moment, is giving us that. He's now led 10 whole laps of this race, 100% of this race. He took pole. He has fastest laps, so at the moment, he's completing 3 things. He just needs to cross the line in first and still stop, and we'll have to see. Pesci's up to P11 in this race. That's a good charge back, but he's got another 4 seconds to close before he reaches even just P10 in the order. So he's got a lot further to go. And a very long race ahead of him. You know, we've got to talk about Deck in this race, though, for a minute. Just for a second. Because you've got to give it to this man. He has put on a really good day. He's been contending with Remote. You see, he's actually closed up this lap by about 4/10. He's really putting in a good lap at the moment against Remote. He's still closing in. But you've got to give it to him. He's absolutely having a cracking day and an incredible race, you know. I think this is, you know, I think with SKG, I think outside of XR8 being close to them, I think this is the closest we've seen any other team. Decker's now just set the fastest lap of the race. This is interesting now. Maybe the Grand Slam isn't on for Remote. Edwards now spun round. That's disappointment there. And that means AB are at the bottom. But it is a safety car. As Josh Rose gets off into third, it is a safety car. And this changes everything now, because I think we're going to see Remote come in for the dry tyres, because he's going to get a massive pit stop, and he's still going to be able to lead 100% of this race as it stands. 100%. I have no idea how this man is doing this. But the main thing we actually have to really sort of talk about is, what tyres is everybody going to go to? We can see some of the drivers for the back who've come out of the pits. They've gone for, Mr. Pome's gone for hards, mediums for both of the ABE drivers. They're thinking they can go 24 laps on those mediums, which I think is a bit far. Hard tyres, I think, could just make it, but I'm not sure. Possibly not. But we'll have to see. What is everybody going to go for? Are we going to see a 2-stop strategy here? Are we going to be seeing a 2-stop strategy in this race? This would be interesting. Remote is going in. I think we all knew he was going to be heading in anyway. Just about gets in, sliding everywhere. As he pulls in. He's going onto the medium tyres. He thinks the mediums are going to be best for him. Everybody's coming into the pits, by the way. Absolutely everyone. And that means Remote continues to lead this race. He's now led 12 consecutive laps of this race, and now he's going on to his 13th. We're probably going to be seeing a 14th and a 15th lap be led by this man because of the gaps in the grid. But, I mean, if he leads more than half this race, it'll be incredible. But at the end of the season, if nobody knows, at the end of the season, I always say about the stats for champions and how well they've sort of done, you know, stats-wise, you know how many laps led and everything. And out of all the laps led, I think it's actually going to be really close. I think consecutive laps, I think consecutive laps would probably be maybe TTRE, because I remember they led in Abu Dhabi when it's, 29 lap race. I think they led 25 or 24 laps consecutively. They pretty much, or they were completely dominant and led every lap, so we'll have to see. But it's not been many times a team has led 100% of a race. Only with TTRE last season. That was the last time. No. But yeah. We'll have to see. Everybody's going slowly as the safety car makes its way around. It's quite interesting though to see. And give me your predictions on who you think is going to win now, because this changes it up. Remote's lead has completely disappeared. We knew the pit stops were going to be coming anyway, but did we think this point? Not realistically. Did we think this point? Not really. Not really. In all fairness, did we think, did we think, this was going to change a lot? Raphael now drops down. Another pit stop for Liam Mag as well. Why did he have another pit stop? Maybe he went onto the wrong tyres. He's now outside of the top 10. So SKG's day not getting much better. Do we think SKG are going to win? This does change it, in all fairness, but I think Remote's, dominant qualifying pace we saw earlier on, and how he started this race as well. In all fairness, I think Remote, does still sit with the best chance of winning tonight's race and, having the, taking that third win, for SKG this season, leading in all wins. Brian Deck will win because he is a legend. We will see. We will see what Deck will do. We will see whether he can. He's done it. He's, like I said before, in all fairness, he's had a good race. In all fairness, he's been incredible in that Mercedes for FRLT. He's had a couple of rough races, but he's had quite a few good races for them this season. He has been able to perform quite well along with Pesci. But I think this race is really showing that for the first time, I think this season, Pesci is not the driver leading the team. This race is just you and Liam Mag now come in again. But I think everybody can agree, this week, it is Deck that's leading the team away. And it's the first time I'd say this season I've seen in either Tier 1 or 4s, Pesci not being the driver who leads UFRT. But it's great to see, though, to see somebody else leading the team. And great to see that still, we're looking at 3 different constructors on the podium out of this race. But just to say, 3rd, 4th and 5th is now fully enough for XR8 to win the championship. 13 points, which then goes up to 24, means 34. So 64 points in total. 66 points, in total, for XR8 ahead of ABE as it stands. But because ABE have one driver inside the top 10, and that's P10, 65 points. So as it stands, XR8 are on their way to win their first title ever in FRLT. Now, I'm going to give you one bit of news. There will be a 3rd tier next season as the safety car is coming in. But I will say there is going to be, just a little Easter egg for next season, there's going to be a 3rd tier of FRLT. Yes, another tier is going to return. Is it going to be tier 2 of assists? No, sadly that's not returning. Even after a year, it won't be returning. There is going to be another one. There is going to be a 3rd tier, but Remote can choose when he leads the pack away. And when he goes for it, he's going to be naming his 15th lap led here tonight. When is he going to go? Does he feel like going yet? He's really making them wait. He's trying to catch them off guard as much as he can. As now he goes away. He's gotten away pretty nicely. It's a good enough start to keep him safe down the pit straight. So now he crosses the start-finish line to start lap number 16 of the race. As now he starts and he leads away once again. 15 laps led this race. And now he gets away. Oh, that's a big collision in the wall. That's somebody in the wall, very heavily in the wall. That's Ridley, who's gone straight into it. Contact there. And you see Raphael also making some overtakes. We've got some drivers making overtakes. That's Raphael, who's up to P8 already. As that's Rusted Bolt heading down the order. And it's not looking too great there for himself. As now we can see Pesci still P10. He's come out of that pretty alright in the end. Edward, though, is up to P7 and scoring 5 points. So now, for XR8, it might be a bit of a problem with Edward being so high up in the grid order. Now we can see Tarsus also to P6. What a good race he's having on those hard tyres. He's up to 6th and up to 7 points now for XPG. At least that's 7 points going their way, even though they're most likely going to finish 5th in the Constructors. You can see Josh Rose, by the way, had a good enough start to get in front of Deck and up into P2. And now Josh Rose is chasing down Remote for the lead of the race and for the victory. Will it be SKG's? Will it be SKG's 3rd victory of the season, or will it be the team of XR8 to take their third win in their season-long campaign and to claim the championship. Who knows? Who will take victory under the Dutch flag? Who will take it here tonight on the Dutch circuit? We know that XPG have some luck at the Netherlands before. We know earlier in the season, Tier 1, the Netherlands was, I believe, the opening race of the season. Of course, we saw it was XPG, specifically F1 Shorts, who won for XPG in round 1. But that's doesn't look like it's going to be coming true. The fairy tale doesn't look like it will be coming true for XPG here tonight. But Deck is now down to P4. Oh, it's not going well on those hard tyres. He's really struggling. He drops down another position and down to P5 in this race. He's gone for the long strategy on the hard tyres, but it is not working out for him. He's struggling for pace, and UFRT's day is starting to fall apart a bit. He drops down to P5 and outside of the pit, out of the podium places, and that is down to 10 points now for UFRT here tonight. It's not looking too great for himself or for the team. Here comes Raphael, though, down the inside of Tartar Sauce as he makes his way past into P6. Solid move for SKG. And for Raphael, another 2 points gained in their championship campaign. See, here he comes. Those medium tyres seem completely dominant over the hards, almost getting Deck at the same time within a couple of corners. Would have been incredible, but it's now P2, P3, and P4 from XR8. They're perfectly sitting in a perfect little position as Edwards dropped down to P10, by the way. So as it stands, it will be XR8 to take the championship out of the Netherlands and to win the Fours Championship first time. Also, ABE will be able to confirm that they win the... they finish second in the Constructors, I believe. I think they'll be able to confirm that possibly out of this race. Lots of battling happening further back. Edward having a battle with Pesci over P11. Josh Rose! Oh, it's a mistake from Remote, as now Josh Rose leads the race. Fastest lap of the race from himself. And that is a complete change. That's caught me completely by surprise. Raphael, though, mixing it up and getting ahead of Fireblaze for P4. And that might put XR8's championship in a bit of jeopardy for now. But Josh Rose now leads away from the pack, from Remote. And SKG's day might have been turned upside down as a third victory in 3 races, a hat-trick of wins, and a championship push for third. Looks like it might be out of the question a bit now, out of this race. Who knows? But Josh Rose does want to claim a third win for XR8. He wants to take their third win of the season, 3 wins out of 9. At least have a 33.3% win rate at the moment. If the season was to end with 3 wins for XR8, who knows what is going to happen for the moment as Josh Rose makes his way round. This is going to be incredibly interesting. Liam Mag battling for position. He's battling up to P7. He gets ahead of Tartar Sauce. Jachu also trying to do the same thing, but unable to, and that's a good move for Liam Mag there. And some extra points, another 2 extra points for himself. Josh Rose has now set the fast lap of the race. Look at this. Tyler makes his way past Remote for P2. And that has pushed Remote down to third. I don't know what's happened to him. He's having some struggles. He's got front wing damage. That's why. I didn't notice that at first. Remote has front wing damage, and that. I think he hit the wall. I think he collided with the wall out of the final corner. I think that sent him off now. Down to P3. And his championship is completely falling apart. And the victory is disappearing. And this just looks like pure disappointment. Ridley now retires from the race. ABE suffer a pointless weekend at the moment. It wouldn't have made much difference if they were here or not, as I think most people would agree. But it is looking pretty awful now for Remote. The podium might even be... It might not even be possible for Remote because his teammate is catching him very quickly. And it looks like that even that might be falling apart for the SKG driver. But one mistake has led him to now lose the lead of the race. And on his way to even lose the podium positions. It's looking pretty ridiculous for the moment. As now Fireblaze sets the fastest lap of the race's deck now. Goes down to P7. Oh, dropping down the order. It's not looking too good. Edward now into the pits. Edward now retires as well from the race. ABE are out. And that means, officially, as it stands, XR8 will be your Season 4's champions. As it stands, but they need to make sure they keep the rest of this race clean. They are on for, they would be on for 33 points as it stands. All they needed was 28 points. So as even P1, P2 is enough, but with a P5 as well, that pretty much confirms it. But as long as it stays this way for the last 15 laps of tonight's race, so as long as it stays like that, it's going to be interesting to see and interesting to watch, because XR8 are on their way to take their 3rd victory of the season and their championship. Raphael now makes his way past Remote for P3 in the race, and that is onto the podium past his teammate. I don't think his teammate was really fighting. That deck is now gone into the pit, so UFRT out of any podium chance at all. It's fallen apart for SKG a bit, and it's also fallen apart for UFRT and ABE. But for ABE, I'm going to say it now, for ABE, it's been the biggest heartbreak tonight, because no points at all, double DNF. From leading the championship out of the first 4 races of the season, into round 5, they lost the lead of the championship, but, they led the championship for 4 races this season. They look pretty strong. They look like the strongest team. And, to fall away after sort of round 4, how they have, and, to sort of, they've still, in some races, been able to keep up a decent amount and lost a couple of points, but they've constantly been losing a couple of points every single race, and that's just hurt them too much. And I think we can all agree that for ABE this season, it just was not the season for them in 4s. It was, at the start, it looked like the championship, it was their championship to win, and then from round 5 onwards, they've just, they took a few steps back, and they just seemed to have maybe reverted back to sort of not as bad as they were, I would say, last season in Tier 1, where they dropped huge amounts of points, where they really struggled after round 5. They only scored sort of 30-odd points after round 5. 10 races in the season, second half of the season, they only scored 30-odd points. I'm definitely, I'm not saying that. I'm saying sort of with everything else, AB have not had a strong go. They haven't won a single championship, by the way. Even though they have appeared in all 4 seasons of FRLT, they haven't secured a single championship. They're still one of the only teams. They're the only team from Season 1, along with AMS, that haven't achieved a single championship, and XPG, of course, as well. But XPG have not appeared in all seasons of Tier 1. They have done it in 4s. But out of the 3 teams of XPG, AMS and ABE, AMS have been the most, have been the strongest, clearly. They have 4 trophies, 1 second place, and 3 titles. They're on for their 3rd title this season. It looks pretty much confirmed, but they have 2 titles at the moment in Tier 1. ABE achieved, they've achieved 2 third places in Tier 1 in Season 1 and Season 2, and they didn't achieve any trophies last season. This season, into Season 4, they're only, they're on their way to achieve 2nd in the Constructors in Season, in 4. So, they're on their way to take us, 1 step up, but it's still not the championship, Even, last season they led the championship as well, but this season, it's completely changed. But Tyler is catching up to Josh Rose for the lead. Are we going to see a bit of a teammate battle over who is going to win the champion, or who's going to win this race and sort of almost have the bragging rights that they won the championship? Who knows? This might get a little bit tense over the next couple of laps, but as I say that, we go on to lap 25, 11 more laps of this race to go. The race is starting to go it's going by a little bit faster, but yeah, I do feel bad for ABE to some degree. You know, it's going to be, you know, we all know it's going to be at least their third trophy. But, you know, two, you know, P3s in the in Tier 1 and P2 and 4s, you know, in sort of 4 seasons of racing, you know, that isn't a massive amount to go off of. You know, AMS have achieved, you know, in 3 seasons they've achieved a 2nd place trophy and 2 1st place trophies, and this season they're on for their 3rd, you know, taking complete dominance in Tier 1, winning all 3 championships in all 3 seasons. You know, SCT got a championship before them, AERO did, POR did. You know, there's so many teams that also have achieved 2nd place trophies before they did. But, you know, I'm not here to absolutely destroy ABE at all. But, yeah, I think, you know, I do feel a bit bad for them, though. You know, they've been in this for so long, and I've known them for so long as well. So many of their members and their owner and stuff. You know, and they're a great team. But I feel so bad, you know, they're like that team that always sits sort of, you know, 2nd or 3rd, who just almost gets it, but never really does. But it's a difficult one. But we've got some moves going on. Fireblaze trying to get past Remote for P4. As he does do that, oh my god, are we going to see XR8 take a 1-2-3 in this race? Is that possible? A 1-2-3. Deck now takes the fastest lap of the race. That's an extra point. Well, it isn't, sadly, because he's outside the top 10. Disappointing, but he's taking a point away from, I believe, that would have been XR8. So it's just a point away from them. But as it stands, XRA on their way to win their first ever championship in 4s and to become the 3rd different 4s champion. 3 seasons. This, yeah, it's incredible. It's been an incredible season. So close to every race. You know, we've had quite a lot of battles this season for race wins, and it's been an incredibly close season. Probably the closest season I think we've had 4s, probably. Nobody's really dominated. In all fairness, nobody's really dominated. Now, Remote, by the way, makes his way past Liam Mag, though, is also trying to make his way past Fireblaze. Unable to. Even Fireblaze starts to ghost. Still ghosting. Who's actually going to come out on top here? Because they're both still ghosting. Look at this Fireblaze. He's trying to keep within the distance of the Sauber. He hasn't been able to, but down the inside he goes, trying to make that move back. Fireblaze now down 2 places, and that's not the way you want to have it. But I think a bit of contact definitely did affect them. Yeah, that bit of contact definitely did affect the man of Fireblaze in that moment. As now, there goes past Liam Mag. Mr. Poem now retires from the race as well, but a disappointment there. Fireblaze also trying to get past Remote at the same time. Look at this! Oh my god! Whoa, okay. That's a bit of road rage. Seeing quite a bit of road rage there with Remote. These two are absolutely scrapping. They're not here to play around. They're here to just... They're trying to kill each other. I swear to God, they're trying to kill each other. They are going for it. Oh, what are we going to see into turn 3? We've seen some mystery so far. Around the outside is what Fireblaze is trying to do. He's trying to get the cut back. He can't get that front grip. The car keeps on going away from him on the front. It looks like he's getting a bit of understeer. Look at this. Speeding up the hill. He's trying to get the SKG driver of Remote down the inside. He's trying to go. Tartarsaurus is catching up to this as well. While Liam Mag pulls away and out of the chance. But look at this. I've not seen this much angry driving from somebody in quite a while. 8 laps remaining of this race to go. And we're getting some... And I think the tension is starting to boil over slightly. Oh, and a bit of contact on the rear for Fireblaze with Tartarsaurus. He's not going to be too happy about that because a couple of controversial things have now happened in the last sort of lap or two. I think Fireblaze is getting a little bit angry. Is he going to send it? This is the big question. Is he going to send it? No, he's not. He's keeping cool. And he's just trying to get past Remote. I think a little moment of anger maybe came through there. But maybe shouldn't have. And around the outside he's trying to go. He's gone deep. He's trying to get that exit. Remote leaves space. Whoa, went onto the grass. Holy. It is a push through it. Up the hill. Down. Oh, trying to go. Whoa, as he pushes Remote out the way. Contact between the two. He lets Remote back past. But what is going on here? He is fighting to get past Remote. Fireblaze pushing. Look at how much he is pushing. Down the inside. Goes Tartar Sauce. He tries to make the move. But Remote, is he doing this on purpose so Jachu can just get past these two drivers and pull up to P6 in this race? Is this just strategy, or is this just trying to annoy each other now? Is that Remote trying to get back at Fireblaze for trying to get past and trying to push his way past? What's going to happen here? Down the pit straight. There goes Fireblaze. You can see Remote is pushing everything he's got. And there he goes down the inside. Oh my god. I thought Remote was about to go for it. Doesn't work in the end. But oh, it's a mistake. Fireblaze is ghosting. But you see Remote staying within that sort of ghost area. Now it's no longer. And that is Fireblaze up to P5 in this race. But this battling, holy Jesus, this is intense. The battle over P5 is becoming a little bit intense now between these four. Oh, and it's a mistake from Jachu. He's made a mistake. Tartar Sauce, by the way, down the inside of Remote. The medium tyres have completely gone off as well as Tartar Sauce makes his way up to P6 in this race. XPG's return maybe being a little bit better now. As now he chases P5 in this race and a top 5 finish and 10 points. Are we going to see it? Because he's picked up some pace now. The medium tyres have almost completely worn away as now the leaders start lap number 31 of 36, meaning there's just 5 laps remaining of this race. This is becoming intense. You can see Pesci and Rusted Bolt have both joined this group. Look at this. Pesci trying to go around the outside of Remote. Has he got it? Has he gotten it? Is that move done? Yes or no? No, it isn't. Still, contact between the two. We've seen these two battle before. Deck gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And there's a retirement from Deck. So that means there's only 10 drivers left. Holy, my God. 5 drivers have retired. Third of the grid. But look at this. Remote really trying to fight. But that front wing damage has completely hindered him. And that means he's completely out of it. And that is disappointment as the drivers make their way around. But the battle for the lead is slightly on. It's XR8 versus XR8 teammates against each other. Josh Rose versus Tyler. For the lead of this race, who is going to win? It doesn't really matter because for XR8, they'll win the constructors either way. But for the sort of glory reasons for the drivers, at the moment, Tyler would love to win. But I think Josh Rose knows he really sort of almost needs to win to show his speed and his brilliance in this race and the comeback he's had. Tartar Sauce now getting past Blaze. Oh, he's gone on the curb a bit too much. That's dropped him back down. But we can see Tartar Sauce is definitely faster than Fireblaze now. Those medium tyres have definitely gone off, and it's allowing Tartar Sauce to come back into this. Pesci as well has made his way up to P7 ahead of both SKG drivers, so it's all changing around. The battle for P7 is still on, and they've also caught up to P6 and P5, so everything is going on here. A lot is happening in this race, and the gaps are quite large. I mean, in all fairness, Liam Mag is on his own. He can't even see anybody out on track. In all fairness, he can't even see anyone on track. Like, he is very much on his own. I feel bad for him because he is on his own. He can't even see like his teammate or anybody out of track. Not even a glimpse of anyone. Oh my god. And now, Remote battling with Rusted Bolt over P10. Wing damage. He's giving Rusted Bolt a bit of a problem. Oh my god. The man who went pole in qualifying versus the slowest driver. Who's going to go where? Let's see what's going to happen. As Remote holds up for now. And now, Tartar Sauce down the inside for P5. He makes his way up into the top 5. And there he goes. Laps are coming down though. Final 4 laps now of this race. 4 whole laps remaining. And then we'll be going down to the final 3. And that's where the chaos generally starts to get a little bit more intense. Well, not just a little, a lot more intense. So let's see how that's going to go. Also, guys, we are 2 subscribers away from 200. Please, if you guys feel like you wanna be kind and give a subscriber or 2 to the channel for the absolute brilliant community we have built over the last 4 seasons, please do. I will be doing something very special for 200 subscribers. Well, for 250 subscribers, we'll be doing a little special something. And there'll be a little something on the channel that you'll see that will change. But we're going to be doing a couple of nice little things to celebrate 200 subscribers. But we'll see. We'll see. If we do that this stream, I will come out and say that that whatever team is is the best team on the grid. So whoever subscribes, make sure to do that. I will do anything. You guys can give me ideas, please. If you're in the Discord server, give me ideas for what I should do. Because if we hit 200 in this stream, I will do it then. I will do it because we're 2 away. We're just 2 away. So you better make sure you subscribe ASAP because there's not long in this race. I mean, we're going to be going down to the final 2 laps. Just over 2 minutes left of this race. So about 2 minutes and 24.6 seconds by my count. So you're gonna have to make sure it happens. 1 subscriber a lap. Come on, let's get to 200. I will do something for the celebration of 200 subscribers. So make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and also click on that notification bell to know about all of our incredible content, from streams like this and races like this to shorts and videos. Make sure to go and do all of that. But at this moment, we're looking at a new team getting crowned in FRLT. They achieved 2nd in the Constructors last season in Tier 1. It might be their only trophy so far, but they're going to be adding to that with a 4th trophy on F1 24 to end out the cycle. No. Brian, no. I already did. No, I'm kidding. No. I'm not doing that. I'm not shaving my legs. Shut up. But no, I'm not doing that. I'm not mental, okay? I'm not going crazy. I'm not going to do something absolutely mental. But no. Josh Rose making his way round onto the final lap of the race. The battle between teammates now begins. As we can see, fully focused for the final lap. It's Josh Rose who leads away. Who is going to get this? Who is going to take the win? Is it going to be Josh Rose or will it be his teammate Tyler? Tyler's a little bit far back. We can see Remote heading down the inside of Rusted Bolt for P9. The battle for 2 points is really coming on quite strong here. Look at these two. They're really racing side by side. Oh, contact between the two. And that's Rusted Bolt who gets half spun. That's a bit of action there. Josh Rose, though, we got to watch as he's coming towards the end of the middle sector. It's all going to be changing now. Heading round to the end of the middle sector into the final sector of this championship run for XR8. They have done everything they've needed. It was a tough qualifying, but they've turned it around in the race for a 1-2 as it stands before any steward's decisions. But as it stands, it is going to be XR8 who not only win in the Netherlands, they are going to win the Constructors' Championship for 4s in Season 4 of FRLT. And that is a 3rd win this season and their 2nd trophy. And that is everything they've needed here tonight. As we can see, Pesci's going to finish P5 in a good recovery finish. Fireblaze couldn't get him in the end. Jashu 7th, Tartarsaurus 9th with Remote in... Tartarsaurus 8th, Remote in 9th. But that is the end. What a close end to the race. My God. Holy. What a very, 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 very close end in that Very, very close. So let's look at the order. Josh Rose is first, followed by Tyler in second. Raphael finishes off the podium with his teammate Liam Mag in fourth. Pesci in fifth. Fireblaze sixth. Jashu seventh. Tarsource in eighth. Remote ninth. And finally, Rusted Bolt. Our retirees being Deck, Mr. Poem, Edward, Ridley, and Shadow. Now, it is time for interviews. So I'm going to ask some nice people to come in for some interviews now. Specifically the managers. Just quickly. Let's get Ryan. So we're going to be asking Ryan. Where is it? So, while we get that sorted, this is going to be very exciting. It's going to be for so Ryan, if you could do the nice thing of getting into the waiting for interview, unless you cannot find it, and you might not be able to find it. Okay, so we're going to bring him into the interview box in right now, actually. Hang on, give me a second. I do not have my headphones on because I'm stupid. I should have planned to put these in, but I haven't. So now we're going to bring him in. Hello, Ryan, and
Hello.
Congratulations on your Fords Championship. Of course, we've still got to wait for the stewards, but how does it feel to, at the moment, have the title?
Yeah, lovely. I must say, I didn't expect this result with the lineup we put out. I hadn't really seen Tyler's pace before the race, but I'm very happy with a 1-2, and what a great way to win the title.
Do you feel like, were you a bit worried out of qualifying, that maybe you couldn't wrap up the championship sort of this race and would have to wait till the finale? Did you feel like, it was a bit close? I think the closest was Josh in P4, P5?
P5, yeah.
Yeah. So, how did you sort of feel about the qualifying?
Honestly, not great. I thought, to be fair, I don't think AB had great qualifying either. So that was really the only team we were worried about. So yeah, it was kind of good that SKG had quite a good quality performance. Just happy that AB got out-qualified. So for us, it didn't matter much. Still, I think we should be doing better, especially with the usual pace Josh has. He should be qualifying higher than P5, but it's fine.
How are you still feeling? Of course, next season it's going to be a new game. New game. It's going to be something. It's going to be something different. Do you feel like you can maybe become the first team to get back-to-back titles, or are you waiting to see?
From what I know, I've asked XR8 who's gonna buy the new game, and I'm pretty sure everyone is. So we should be fine, and I think we have quite some exciting new drivers coming in. So yeah, I think it's definitely possible, but SKG is looking really strong, I must say.
I think I think if Remote, I think we could both agree if Remote didn't make that mistake and get the damage, it probably would have been an SKG win.
Yeah,
at the end
possibly.
of tonight.
I think Josh was still in the DRS before he made that mistake, and we both know how powerful DRS is.
I think I got it actually here. It was 1.1. So yeah, he was just outside, but he was pretty much on it. So
yeah.
I think it would have been incredibly close. But still, I think I think it's an incredible season. I think, of course, you guys also missed a race, so really you've only done 7 out of the 8.
Yeah,
But yeah, well done on the championship. Thanks for
thank
joining
you.
me here in the comms
Of
box.
course.
But well done, and hopefully you don't lose it in the stewards. Hopefully. But you got some
Hopefully,
points
yeah.
spare. You got some points spare.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
So we have now heard from the XRA owner / manager of Ryan Benink. He's incredibly happy with the championship. And like I said, they've still got some points spare, so even if they drop a few places, they should still win the championship as it stands. But incredible race. Absolutely incredible race in the end. I have to say, thank you guys so much for an incredible season. To end out season 4 or 4s with a race that could have gone either way, you know, could have gone any sort of way in the end. Would have been crazy. If I'm being honest. And I got to say thank you to you guys for such an incredible season. Like, the support from you guys have been incredible on the channel and in the Discord server and everywhere. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy it. Next week, we go into one final race in Bahrain. Although even though it looks like the championship is all wrapped up here in the Netherlands, it might not be. So you'll have to wait till the stewards report is out. But ultimately, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please think about subscribing, leaving a like. Also, click on that notification bell to know about all the content we do, from shorts, videos, and of course streams like this. But ultimately, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.